A dragonfly is a flying insect belonging to the infrorder Anisoptera below the order Odonata. About 3,000 extant species of dragonflies are known. Most are tropical, with fewer species in temperate regions. Loss of wetland habitat threatens dragonfly populations around the world. Adult dragonflies are characterized by a pair of large, multifaceted, compound eyes to pairs of strong, transparent wings, sometimes with colored patches, and an elongated body. Many dragonflies have brilliant iridescent or metallic colors produced by structural coloration, making them conspicuous in flight. And adult dragonflies' compound eyes have nearly 24,000 ommatidia each. Dragonflies can be mistaken for the closely related Dragonflies, which make up the other odonatant infrorder Zygoptera and are similar in body plan, though usually lighter in build. However, the wings of most dragonflies are held flat and away from the body, while Dragonflies hold their wings folded at rest, along or above the abdomen. Dragonflies are agile flyers, while Dragonflies have a weaker, fluttery flight. Dragonflies make use of motion camouflage when attacking prey or rivals. Dragonflies are predatory insects, both in their aquatic nymphal stage, also known as naiads, and as adults. In some species, the nymphal stage lasts up to 5 years, and the adult stage may be as long as 10 weeks. But most species have an adult lifespan in the order of 5 weeks or less, and some survive for only a few days. 4. They are fast, agile flyers capable of highly accurate aerial ambush, sometimes migrating across oceans, and often live near water. They have a uniquely complex mode of reproduction involving indirect insemination, delayed fertilization, and sperm competition. During mating, the male grasps the female at the back of the head, and the female curls her abdomen under her body to pick up sperm from the male's secondary genitalia at the front of his abdomen, forming the heart or wheel posture. Fossils of very large dragonfly-like insects, sometimes called griffinflies, are found from 325 million years ago in upper Carboniferous rocks. These had wingspans up to about 750 millimeters 30, though they were only distant relatives, not true dragonflies, which first appeared during the early Jurassic. Dragonflies are represented in human culture on artifacts such as pottery, rock paintings, statues, and Art Nouveau jewelry. They are used in traditional medicine in Japan and China, and caught for food in Indonesia. They are symbols of courage, strength, and happiness in Japan, but seen as sinister in European folklore. Their bright colors and agile flight are admired in the poetry of Lord Tennyson and the prose of H.E. Bates. Evolution, the giant upper Carboniferous dragonfly relative, Meganeuromone, attained a wingspan around 680 millimeters, 27 inches. 8. Museum of Toulouse. Mesoropatala, late Jurassic Tithonian. Solnhofen limestone Germany dragonflies and their relatives are similar in structure to an ancient group, the Meganisoptera or griffin flies, from the 325 Mia upper Carboniferous of Europe, a group that included one of the largest insects that ever lived, Meganeuropsis permiana from the early Permian, with a wingspan around 750 millimeters 30. 9. The Protanisoptera, another ancestral group that lacks certain wing vein characters found in modern Odonata, lived in the Permian. 10 Anisoptera first appeared during the Torsion Age of the early Jurassic. 11 and the Crown, group developed in the Middle Jurassic. 12. They retain some traits of their distant predecessors and are in a group known as the Paleoptera, meaning ancient winged. Like the gigantic griffinflies, dragonflies lack the ability to fold their wings up against their bodies in the way modern insects do, although some evolved their own different way to do so. The forerunners of modern Odonata are included in a clade called the Panodonata, which include the basal Zygoptera Dragonflies and the Anisoptera true dragonflies. 13. Today, some 3,000 species are extant around the world. 14. 15. The relationships of Anisopteran families are not fully resolved as of 2021, but all the families are monophyletic except the Cordylidae. and the Austropodalidae are sister to the Echinoidea. 16. Dragonflies live on every continent except Antarctica, in contrast to the Damselflies Zygoptera, which tend to have restricted distributions. Some genera and species are spread across continents. For example, the blue-eyed darner Ryaneshna multicolor lives all across North America and in Central America. 18 emperors annex live throughout the Americas, from as far north as Newfoundland to as far south as Bahia Blanca in Argentina. 19 across Europe to Central Asia, North Africa, and the Middle East. 20. The globe skimmer Pontala flavescens is probably the most widespread dragonfly species in the world. It is cosmopolitan, occurring on all continents in the warmer regions. Most Anisoptera species are tropical, with far fewer species in temperate regions. 21 some dragonflies, including libellulids and echinids, live in desert pools, for example in the Mojave Desert, where they are active in shade temperatures between 18 and 45 Celsius, 64 and 113 degrees Fahrenheit. These insects were able to survive body temperatures above the thermal death point of insects of the same species in cooler places. 22 dragonflies live from sea level up to the mountains, decreasing in species diversity with altitude. Their altitudinal limit is about 3,700 meters, represented by a species of Ischia in the Pamirs. 24 dragonflies become scarce at higher latitudes. They are not native to Iceland, but individuals are occasionally swept in by strong winds, including a Hemianax aphipiger native to North Africa and an unidentified darter species. 25. In Kamchatka, only a few species of dragonfly, including the tree-line emerald Somatochlora arctica and some echinids, such as Ischia subarctica, are found, possibly because of the low temperature of the lakes there. 26. The tree-line emerald also lives in northern Alaska, within the Arctic Circle, making it the most northerly of all dragonflies. 27. Dragonflies suborder Anisoptera are heavy-bodied, strong-flying insects that hold their wings horizontally both in flight and at rest. By contrast, Damselflies suborder Zygoptera have slender bodies and fly more weakly. Most species fold their wings over the abdomen when stationary, and the eyes are well separated on the sides of the head. 1728, an adult dragonfly has 3 distinct segments: the head, thorax, and abdomen, as in all insects. It has a chitinous exoskeleton of hard plates held together with flexible membranes. The head is large with very short antennae. It is dominated by the 2 compound eyes, which cover most of its surface. The compound eyes are made up of ommatidia, the numbers being greater in the larger species. Ischia interrupta has 22,650 ommatidia of to varying sizes, for 1,500 being large. The facets facing downward tend to be smaller. Petalura gigantea has 23,890 ommatidia of just one size. These facets provide complete vision in the frontal hemisphere of the dragonfly. 29. The compound eyes meet at the top of the head except in the Petaluridae and Gomphidae, as also in the genus Epiophlebia. Also, they have 3 simple eyes or ocelli. The mouth parts are adapted for biting with a toothed jaw. The flap-like labrum at the front of the mouth can be shot rapidly forward to catch prey. 30-31. The head has a system for locking it in place that consists of muscles and small hairs on the back of the head that grip structures on the front of the first thoracic segment. This arrestor system is unique to the Odonata and is activated when feeding and during tandem flight. 17. The thorax consists of 3 segments as in all insects. The prothorax is small and flattened dorsally into a shield-like disc, which has 2 transverse ridges. The mesothorax and metathorax are fused into a rigid, box-like structure with internal bracing, and provide a robust attachment for the powerful wing muscles inside. 32. The thorax bears 2 pairs of wings and 3 pairs of legs. The wings are long, veined, and membranous, narrower at the tip and wider at the base. The hindwings are broader than the forewings and the venation is different at the base. 33. The veins carry hemolymph, which is analogous to blood in vertebrates and carries out many similar functions, but which also serves a hydraulic function to expand the body between nymphal stages in stars and to expand and stiffen the wings after the adult emerges from the final nymphal stage. The leading edge of each wing has a node where other veins join the marginal vein, and the wing is able to flex at this point. In most large species of dragonflies, the wings of females are shorter and broader than those of males. 31. The legs are rarely used for walking, but are used to catch and hold prey, for perching, and for climbing on plants. Each has two short basal joints, two long joints, and a three-jointed foot, armed with a pair of claws. The long leg joints bear rows of spines, and in males, one row of spines on each front leg is modified to form an eye brush for cleaning the surface of the compound eye. 30 to migrant hawker. Aeschina mixta has the long, slender abdomen of Aeschinid dragonflies. The abdomen is long and slender and consists of 10 segments. 3 terminal appendages are on segment 10, a pair of superiors claspers and an inferior. The male holds the female behind the head using a pair of claspers on the terminal segment. In females, the genital opening is on the underside of the 8th segment and is covered by a simple flap, vulvar lamina, or an ovipositor, depending on species and the method of egg laying. Dragonflies having simple flaps shed the eggs in water, mostly in flight. Dragonflies having ovipositors use them to puncture soft tissues of plants and place the eggs singly in each puncture they make. 32, 30 for 35, 36 dragonfly nymphs vary in form with species and are loosely classed into claspers, sprawlers, hiders, and burrowers. 17. The first instar is known as a prolarva, a relatively inactive stage from which it quickly molts into the more active nymphal form. 37. The general body plan is similar to that of an adult, but the nymph lacks wings and reproductive organs. The lower jaw has a huge, extensible labium, armed with hooks and spines, which is used for catching prey. This labium is folded under the body at rest and struck out at great speed by hydraulic pressure created by the abdominal muscles. 17. Both damselfly and dragonfly nymphs ventilate the rectum, but just some damselfly nymphs have a rectal epithelium that is rich in trachea, relying mostly on 3 feathery external gills as their major source of respiration. Only dragonfly nymphs have internal gills, called a branchial chamber, located around the 4th and 5th abdominal segments. These internal gills consist originally of 6 longitudinal folds, each side supported by crossfolds. But this system has been modified in several families. Water is pumped in and out of the abdomen through an opening at the tip. The naiads of some Clutails gomphidae that burrow into the sediment have a snorkel-like tube at the end of the abdomen, enabling them to draw in clean water while they are buried in mud. Naiads can forcefully expel a jet of water to propel themselves with great rapidity. 38, 39, 40. Many adult dragonflies have brilliant iridescent or metallic colors produced by structural coloration, making them conspicuous in flight. Their overall coloration is often a combination of yellow, red, brown, and black pigments with structural colors. Blues are typically created by microstructures in the cuticle that reflect blue light. Greens often combine a structural blue with a yellow pigment. Freshly emerged adults, known as tenerals, are often pale and obtain their typical colors after a few days. 33. Some have their bodies covered with a pale blue. Waxy powderiness called pruinosity. It wears off when scraped during mating, leaving darker areas. 41. Male green darner. Anax junius has non-iridescent structural blue. The female below lacks the color. Some dragonflies, such as the green darner, Anax junius, have a non-iridescent blue that is produced structurally by scatter from arrays of tiny spheres in the endoplasmic reticulum of epidermal cells, Derny at the cuticle. 40. To the wings of dragonflies are generally clear. apart from the dark veins and pterostigmata. In the chasers Libellulidae, however, many genera have areas of color on the wings. For example, groundlings Brachythemes have brown bands on all four wings, while some scarlets Crocothemis and dropwings Trithemis have bright orange patches at the wing bases. Some echinids, such as the brown hawker Echina grandis, have translucent, pale yellow wings. 43 dragonfly nymphs are usually a well-camouflaged blend of dull brown, green, and gray. 38 Phyology. Echologid dragonflies and dam cell fleas are predatory both in the aquatic nymphal and adult stages. Nymphs feed on a range of freshwater invertebrates, and larger ones can prey on tadpoles and small fish. 40 for naiads of one species, Phanegomph, even act as parasites, feeding on the gills of gravid freshwater mussels. 45 adults capture insect prey in the air, making use of their acute vision and highly controlled flight. Swarms of feeding adults aggregate to prey on swarming prey such as emerging flying ants or termites. 40 for habitat preference. A four-spotted chaser, Libellula quadrimaculata on an emergent plant, the water violet Houtonia palustris, with submerged vegetation in the background. Dragonflies as a group occupy a considerable variety of habitats, but many species and some families have their own specific environmental requirements. 46. Some species prefer flowing waters, while others prefer standing water. For example, the Gomphidae clutails live in running water, and the Libellulidae skimmers live in still water. 46. Some species live in temporary water pools and are capable of tolerating changes in water level, desiccation, and the resulting variations in temperature. But some genera, such as Sympetrum darters, have eggs and nymphs that can resist drought and are stimulated to grow rapidly in warm, shallow pools, also often benefiting from the absence of predators there. 46. Vegetation and its characteristics, including submerged, floating, emergent, or waterside, are also important. Adults may require emergent or waterside plants to use as perches. Others may need specific submerged or floating plants on which to lay eggs. Requirements may be highly specific, as an Echina viridis green hawker, which lives in swamps with the water soldier, Strachiotes alloids. 46. The chemistry of the water, including its trophic status, degree of enrichment with nutrients, and pH, can also affect its use by dragonflies. Most species need moderate conditions, not too eutrophic, not too acidic. 46. A few species, such as Sympetrum danae black darter and Libellula quadrimaculata four-spotted chaser, prefer acidic water, such as peat bogs. 47. While others, such as Libellula fulva scarce chaser, need slow-moving, eutrophic waters with reeds or similar waterside plants. 48. 49. Behavior onychomes. Forcipatus male in Bulgaria. Many dragonflies, particularly males, are territorial. Some defend a territory against others of their own species, some against other species of dragonfly, and a few against insects in unrelated groups. A particular perch may give a dragonfly a good view over an insect-rich feeding ground. Males of many species, such as the Pachydoplax longipennis, blue dasher, jostle other dragonflies to maintain the right to alight there. 50. Defending a breeding territory is common among male dragonflies, especially in species that congregate around ponds. The territory contains desirable features such as a sunlit stretch of shallow water, a special plant species, or the preferred substrate for egg laying. The territory may be small or large, depending on its quality, the time of day, and the number of competitors, and may be held for a few minutes or several hours. Dragonflies, including Tramea lacerata black saddlebags, may notice landmarks that assist in defining the boundaries of the territory. Landmarks may reduce the costs of territory establishment or might serve as a spatial reference. 51. Some dragonflies signal ownership with striking colors on the face, abdomen, legs, or wings. The Plathymus lydia common white tail dashes towards an intruder holding its white abdomen aloft like a flag. Other dragonflies engage in aerial dogfights or high-speed chases. A female must mate with the territory holder before laying her eggs. 50. There is also conflict between the males and females. Females may sometimes be harassed by males to the extent that it affects their normal activities, including foraging, and in some dimorphic species, females have evolved multiple forms, with some forms appearing deceptively like males. 52. In some species, females have evolved behavioral responses, such as feigning death, to escape the attention of males. 53. Similarly, selection of habitat by adult dragonflies is not random, and terrestrial habitat patches may be held for up to 3 months. A species tightly linked to its birth site utilizes a foraging area that is several orders of magnitude larger than the birth site. 54. Reproduction mating pair of marsh skimmers, or Thetrum luzonicum, forming a heart duration 3 minutes and 3 seconds. 3:03 Dragonflies overa. Pond including female inserting eggs below the water surface. Mating in dragonflies is a complex, precisely choreographed process. First, the male has to attract a female to his territory, continually driving off rival males. When he is ready to mate, female by the head with the claspers at the end of his abdomen. The structure of the claspers varies between species and may help to prevent interspecific mating. 55. The pair flies in tandem, with the male in front, typically perching on a twig or plant stem. The female then curls her Zeshnidae. Petaliuridae has a sharp-edged ovipositor with which she slits open a stem or leaf of a plant on or near the water, so she can push her eggs inside. In other families, such as Clutails gomphidae, Cruisers macromidae, Emeralds cordylidae, and Skimmers libellulidae, the female lays eggs by tapping the surface of the water repeatedly with her abdomen, by shaking the eggs out of her abdomen as she flies along, or by placing the eggs on vegetation. 60. In a few species, egg tissues are usually shaped like grains of rice, while other eggs are the size of a pinhead, ellipsoidal, or nearly spherical. A clutch may have as many as 1,500 eggs, and they take about a week to hatch into aquatic nymphs or naiads, which molt between 6 and 15 times depending on species as they grow. 17. Most of a dragonfly's life metamorphoses into an adult. It stops feeding and makes its way to the surface, generally at night. It remains stationary with its head out of the water, while its respiration system adapts to breathing air, then climbs up a reed or other emergent plant and molts icdysis. Anchoring itself firmly, it completes its emergence, swallowing air, which plumps out its body, and pumping henolymph into its wings, which causes them to expand to their full extent. 60. For dragonflies in temperate areas can be categorized into 2 groups, an early group and a later. 1. In any one area, individuals of a particular spring species emerge within a few days of each other. The springtime Darnerbaceaceae genata, for example, is suddenly very common in the spring, but disappears a few weeks later and is not seen again until the following year. By contrast, a summer species emerges over a period of weeks or months. Later in the year, they may be seen on the wing for several months, but this may represent a whole series of individuals, with new adults hatching out as earlier ones complete their lifespans. 65. Flightard veined darters Sympetrum fons colombi in mate-guarding position, with male above clasping the female behind the neck. Dragonflies are powerful and agile flyers, capable of migrating across the sea, moving in any direction and changing direction suddenly. In flight, the adult dragonfly can propel itself in 6 directions: upward, downward, forward, backward, to left, and to right. 67. They have for different styles of flight. 68. Counterstroking, with 4 wings beating 180 out of phase with the hind wings, is used for hovering and slow flight. This style is efficient and generates a large amount of lift. Phased stroking, with the hind wings beating 90 ahead of the forewings, is used for fast flight. This style creates more thrust, but less lift than counterstroking. Synchronized stroking, with 4 wings and hind wings beating together, is used when changing direction rapidly, as it maximizes thrust. Gliding, with the wings held out, is used in 3 situations: free gliding, for a few seconds in between bursts of powered flight, gliding in the updraft at the crest of a hill, effectively hovering by falling at the same speed as the updraft, and in certain dragonflies, such as darters, when in cop with a male. The female sometimes simply glides while the male pulls the pair along by beating his wings. 68 Southern Hawker, Echinocyania. Its wings at this instant are synchronized for agile flight. The wings are powered directly, unlike most families of insects, with the flight muscles attached to the wing bases. Dragonflies have a high power, weight ratio, and have been documented accelerating at 4G linearly and 9G in sharp turns while pursuing prey. 68 dragonflies generate lift in at least 4 ways at different times, including classical lift like an aircraft wing, supercritical lift with the wing above the critical angle, generating high lift and using very short strokes to avoid stalling, and creating and shedding vortices. Some families appear to use special mechanisms, as for example the Libellulidae, which take off rapidly, their wings beginning pointed far forward and twisted almost vertically. Dragonfly wings behave highly dynamically during flight, flexing and twisting during each beat. Among the variables are wing curvature, length and speed of stroke, angle of attack, forward, back position of wing, and phase relative to the other wings. 68 flight speed. Old and unreliable claims are made that dragonflies such as the southern giant darner can fly up to 97 kilometers per hour, 60 miles per hour. However, the greatest reliable flight speed records are for other types of insects, 70. In general, large dragonflies like the hawkers have a maximum speed of 36 to 54 kilometers per hour, 20 to 230 for miles per hour, with average cruising speed of about 16 kilometers per hour, 9.9 miles per hour. 71 dragonflies can travel at 100 body lengths per second in forward flight, and 3 lengths per second backwards, 30. Further information. Motion camouflage F principle of motion camouflage as used by fighting dragonflies in high-speed territorial battles between male Australian emperors Hemi and Ax papuensis. The fighting dragonflies adjust their flight paths to appear stationary to their rivals, minimizing the chance of being detected as they approach. A 70-73. To achieve the effect, the attacking dragonfly flies towards his rival, choosing his path to remain on a line between the rival and the start of his attack path. The attacker thus looms larger as he closes on the rival, but does not otherwise appear to move. Researchers found that 6 of 15 encounters involved motion camouflage. 74. Temperature-controlled flight muscles need to be kept at a suitable temperature for the dragonfly to be able to fly. Being cold-blooded, they can raise their temperature by basking in the sun. Early in the morning, they may choose to perch in a vertical position with the wings outstretched, while in the middle of the day, a horizontal stance may be chosen. Another method of warming up used by some larger dragonflies is wing whirring, a rapid vibration of the wings that causes heat to be generated in the flight muscles. The green darner Anax junius is known for its long-distance migrations and often resorts to wing whirring before dawn to enable it to make an early start. 75 becoming too hot is another hazard, and a sunny or shady position for perching can be selected according to the ambient temperature. Some species have dark patches on the wings, which can provide shade for the body, and a few use the obelisk posture to avoid overheating. This behavior involves doing a handstand, perching with the body raised and the abdomen pointing towards the sun, thus minimizing the amount of solar radiation received. On a hot day, dragonflies sometimes adjust their body temperature by skimming over a water surface and briefly touching it, often 3 times in quick succession. This may also help to avoid desiccation. 75. Feedingum and clutail, Campus vulgatissimus, with prey adult dragonflies hunt on the wing using their exceptionally acute eyesight and strong, agile flight. 56. They are almost exclusively carnivorous. eating a wide variety of insects ranging from small midges and mosquitoes to butterflies, moths, damselflies, and smaller dragonflies. 71. A large prey item is subdued by being bitten on the head and is carried by the legs to a perch. Here, the wings are discarded and the prey usually ingested head first. 76. A dragonfly may consume as much as a fifth of its body weight in prey per day. 77. Dragonflies are also some of the insect world's most efficient hunters, catching up to 95% of the prey they pursue. 78. The nymphs are voracious predators, eating most living things that are smaller than they are. Their staple diet is mostly bloodworms and other insect larvae, but they also feed on tadpoles and small fish. 71. A few species, especially those that live in temperate waters, are likely to leave the water to feed. Nymphs of Cordialgaster bedentata sometimes hunt small arthropods on the ground at night, while some species in the Anax genus have even been observed leaping out of the water to attack and kill Fulgi, ROW entry frogs. 1779. Eyesight dragonfly vision is thought to be like slow motion for humans. Dragonflies see faster than humans do. They see around 200 images per second 80. A dragonfly can see in 360 degrees, and nearly 80% of the insect's brain is dedicated to its sight. 81. Predator southern red-billed hornbill with a captured dragonfly in its billow-thou dragonflies are swift and agile flyers. Some predators are fast enough to catch them. These include falcons, such as the American kestrel, the merlin, 82, and the hobby, 83 nighthawks, swifts, flycatchers, and swallows also take some adults. Some species of wasps, too, prey on dragonflies, using them to provision their nests, laying an egg on each captured insect. In the water, various species of ducks and herons eat dragonfly nymphs 82, and they are also preyed on by newts, frogs, fish, and water spiders. 84. Amur falcons, which migrate over the Indian Ocean at a period that coincides with the migration of the globe skimmer dragonfly, Pantala flavescens, may actually be feeding on them while on the wing. 85. Parasites blue dasher, Pachydoplax longipennis, with water mites massed on the underside of its body dragonflies are affected by three groups of parasites, water mites, Gregorine protozoa, and trematode flatworms flukes. Water mites, Hydrocarina, can kill smaller dragonfly nymphs and may also be seen on adults. 86. Gregorines infect the gut and may cause blockage and secondary infection. 87 trematodes are parasites of vertebrates, such as frogs, with complex life cycles often involving a period as a stage called a cercaria in a secondary host. A snail. As a seasonal symbol in Japan, dragonflies are associated with the season of autumn. 99. In Japan, they are symbols of rebirth, courage, strength, and happiness. They are also depicted frequently in Japanese art and literature, especially haiku poetry. Japanese children catch large dragonflies as a game, using a hair with a small pebble tied to each end, which they throw into the air. The dragonfly mistakes the pebbles for prey, gets tangled in the hair, and is dragged to the ground by the weight. 98. 38. In both China and Japan, dragonflies have been used in traditional medicine. In Indonesia, adult dragonflies are caught on poles made sticky with birdlime, then fried in oil as a delicacy. 100 images of dragonflies are common in Art Nouveau, especially in jewelry designs. 101. They have also been used as a decorative motif on fabrics and home furnishings. 100 to Douglas, a British motorcycle manufacturer based in Bristol, named its innovatively designed post-war 350cc flat-twin model the Dragonfly. 103. In poetry and literature, Lafcadio O'Hearn wrote in his 1901 book A Japanese Miscellany that Japanese poets had created dragonfly haiku almost as numerous as are the dragonflies themselves in the earlier. Udom. 115. The poet Matsuo Bash, 1644 to 1694, wrote haiku such as Crimson Pepper Pod, Add to Pairs of Wings, and Look a Darting Dragonfly, relating the autumn season to the dragonfly. Hori Bakasui, 1718 to 1783, similarly wrote Died He Is with the Color of Autumnal Days, O Red Dragonfly. 115. The poet Lord Tennyson described a dragonfly splitting its old skin and emerging shining metallic blue like sapphire mail in his 1840 poem The Two Voices, with the lines "An inner impulse rent the veil of his old husk from head to tail came out. Clear plates of sapphire mail." 117. The novelist H.E. Bates described the rapid, agile flight of dragonflies in his 1937 nonfiction book 118, Down the River. 119. I saw, once, an endless procession, just over an area of water lilies, of small sapphire dragonflies, a continuous play of blue gauze over the snowy flowers above the sun-glassy water. It was all confined, in true dragonfly fashion, to one small space. It was a continuous turning and returning, an endless darting, poising, striking, and hovering, so swift that it was often lost in sunlight. 120. In technology, a dragonfly has been genetically modified with light-sensitive steering neurons in its nerve cord to create a cyborg-like dragonfly. The neurons contain genes like those in the eye to make them sensitive to light. Miniature sensors, a computer chip, and a solar panel were fitted in a backpack over the insect's thorax in front of its wings. Light is sent down flexible light pipes named Optrode C from the backpack into the nerve cord to give steering commands to the insect. The result is a microaerial vehicle that's smaller, lighter, and stealthier than anything